start. Hello everyone, here live on YouTube. I am here currently with my friend Zvidux, and today is going to be a special video. I'm going to talk about something that I'm actually of something I used to be in the industry of. I used to be part of the aviation industry for a short while, and I'm here with Zvidux, and we're going to talk about planes while I get Fortnite. Yes, Fortnite to work. Is that right, Nigel?
Fortnite better pass. I just shit out my ass. I got it cause I need it. And I need it. That Fortnite better pass.
Okay, you know, let me do something real quick. I'm gonna see if I can insert my face somewhere so people can know that that the person in the thumbnail is me.
Fortnite better pass. I just shit out my ass. I got it cause I need it. Jesus Christ, off the screen. Oh no.
No! Anywho, fuck. You see now, is this my gaming setup really hot? Not a metal. Actually, a hella gamer. I can't wait to be able to buy my own place. As I get my own room, so I can actually fucking record somewhere nice. But anywho, wonderful people of YouTube, we're going to talk about
Fortnite.
Battle Pass 69 up my ass. So today we're talking about planes, right? So Nigel,
Planes.
could you please tell them about planes? Have you, guys? Have you flown a plane before?
Yes, my great uncle was a pilot for 30 seconds. I mean 30 minutes, my bad. But unfortunately he died. Tragic. He was one of the pilots during 9/11. He is a war hero.
Fuck. Not one man,
Tragic.
Anywho, let's get into watching plane videos. Now we have this one, which is the PD-14, which is basically a video that was recorded 3 years ago about the Russian PD-14 engine family. No, we can't. This is educational.
On December 15, 2020, the MC-21-310 airliner took off from the airfield of the Irkutsk aircraft plant. At first glance, nothing special, no stunts.
The MC-21 is basically Russia's competitor aircraft against like the, if I'm not mistaken, like the A320 and like the 737. I could be mistaken, you know. Actually, I'm gonna confirm real quick. So, MC-20.
Yes, you are mistaken.
Here we go. What? Wait, no. Oh, it's MC-21. It's the Irkut. It's the Irkut. Yeah, it's like. Yeah, it's the same. It's more innovative than the C919. So yes, it's basically an A320 family and a 737B competitor, basically, but obviously Russian. And even though it first flew in 2017 and this video is done in 2020, the first one will be coming out in 2025. But so basically what Wikipedia is saying is just like it was planned for 2022, but it was moved forward on to 2025, even though they built 8 and they have 300 on order. Which, let's be honest, for an aircraft this new, having 300 orders is amazing. This basically proves how like the Ukrainian war actually benefited Russia, in the fact that it's helping Russia invest more into local industry. It's helping basically Russian aviation another kickback after being completely destroyed after the fall of communism in the USSR in 1990. So basically, this is just bringing planes like the Irkut MC-21, even though which is basically proof that like the Russian plane industry has a chance to compete technically, but it's not that far yet, because obviously the most airlines in Russia exactly after 1990 were more like investing into Airbus and Boeings, so it's just that bit of a shock that they want to put them back into gear, right? Like other countries like Iran and North Korea can't buy aircraft, for example, due to their limitations. Iran used to before for a short period of time, but then they put the ban back on, and Iran have like the weirdest planes you can fly in. Like I believe they still like I watched the video, they still flew an Airbus A310, an Airbus A300 if I'm not mistaken, more like but Airbus A310 I'm sure of, in like first class, with like a first class seating, very modern first class seating, in an Airbus A310, which is really cool. But like, yeah, honestly, and you know what? I'm not. If the MC-21's interior looks like that, hell, I would pay extra to fly and play like that for being that nice. Like, I'm not even fucking around, man. Actually, you know what? Where's the MC-21 interior like? What's the actual interior? Okay. Oh, you know what? It's decent. It's really A321. It's very A321-ish. No, and what's the price on this thing, by the way? I'm not trying to be like all simply for Russia again, like I'm saying. What's the price on this thing, man? It's 72 million for the 200 and 91 million for the 300, which is very cheap for an aircraft that size. But obviously it's Russia, so you have lower labor, everything's built in Russia. It's going to be sold to mostly Russian people, you know. But yeah, Irkut, the fact they have 300 orders is a good sign that they're growing. Will they be able to reach the 5-figure mark like Boeing and Airbus have with the A320 family and the 737 family? I don't know. 737 family took 50 years, and the A320 family took, if I'm not mistaken, 40 years. No, wait, no. Almost, yeah, 40 years, 42 years, if I'm not mistaken, because they began in 1981, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember the types of aircraft I used to repair were Beechcraft. I used to work on an Airbus, and I worked on Bombardier, you know. So it's a pretty varied experience. Obviously, I'm not in the industry anymore, which is a shame. I loved working for those companies. And yeah, let's continue watching the video.
Extremes and records. But this particular flight can be considered crucial, because for the first time an airliner was raised into the sky by fiery hots, the very existence of which for a long time was considered an unattainable goal. Hello aviators, Sky here, and today we will get acquainted with the first completely new Russian civil aircraft engine in several decades. Find out what solutions and technologies it has incorporated into itself, and how it pulls forward not only the aircraft, but the entire industry. I present to you the PD-14. It with the first completely new Russian civil aircraft engine in several decades. Find out what solutions and technologies it has incorporated into itself, and how it pulls forward not only the aircraft, but the entire industry. I present to you the PD-14.
Oh, the planes.
Despite the fact that the PD-14 started flying recently, its history is quite long and full of adventures. In the late 2000s, the
Shish.
For turtles.
Turtles? What turtles?
Turtles. They must turtles. Turtles.
Why about the turtles?
T-U-W-E-S. Turtles.
But what the fuck is written?
كيف تنهز bro? Toad. This
is why I'm gonna fucking kill you, man.
Alright, there we go. Turtles.
I'm gonna search this up in another window just so I won't fucking expose guys to porn.
Mush turtles.
Tutus. Sorry, come with 9/11. Why? No one's reacting, me, not gonna lie. Oh shit.
Tutors.
Oh shit. Anywho, fuck. I got generally scared, not gonna lie.
Huh?
I generally scared for some fucking reason. So, FM, are you watching my live stream or no?
Huh?
You watching my live stream?
Says J1.
No.
Come on, bro. Bro, at least look what I'm trying to explain, bro, so you can comment as well.
I play zombies. Fucking Mr. on your Fortnite.
Bro, legit Fortnite are giving me jack shit, bro. You know what? Guys, to show you how what Fortnite is doing to me right now, this is Fortnite.
No. On the Twitch, YouTube, kollo xadde fl-istess ħin. Tiex Fortnite.
This is Fortnite right now.
Black screen.
Yup.
I want to get full lobby. Inti fejn jiet fuq Fortnite? Huh?
Ħanejdlek. Ma nafx, what can we do exactly? Because I can't.
Unload your Fortnite, għanna rekemx.
Literally, there is a mega gay playing Battle Royale.
Minu mega gay.
Ma zoppnaf mux tistaqsi.
Oh, actually jismu mega gay. Damn. That's one mega gay.
What the fuck is mega gay, man?
Jinajdlek ġuħuk.
Right, my res on plate.
I mean, għu mandek xuħed maħutek mega gay. Oh, Jeremy, jadilu. Oh, de kohtu. Banana settings. Settings. What's it? No, that makes sense. What's the resolution?
I mean, resolution of Fortnite. What the fuck are you saying? Are you smoking crack?
Inti Fortnite għada windowed full screen jew kif għada Fortnite?
Full screen.
Għamela windowed full screen.
Għamela kif. Career.
Settings display. Click here fuq l-icon top right.
Okay.
وبات السيتنجز هذا يصب bottom left تيبدا but settings
No, I meant window full screen.
window full screen yet.
Or Windows. I have unlimited
No, window
frame
تجي annoying so just تبون ما فيدك.
performance.
forse full screen
برافو خا.
تكون annoying ما يك تهدم بومبا.
I have to reset the fucking game. God. While the game's restarting, let's continue with the plane thing, okay? As I was saying, right?
100 airliner entered the home stretch before the start of deliveries. A completely new modern regional jet.
You know what?
Ambitious, but
this plane, even though they're saying it's modern, new, it looks like a 737. This with different eyes and different
without
nose.
extremes.
Like, you know what? I'm actually going to search up a 737-300. Like, it's literally, well, except for the engine design, it's the same airplane, except for it's got why not? Even the windows look kind of similar. That's the fucked up part. Okay. Yeah, it's very similar. It's just a copy of a 737. With like A320 front glass. It's got like A220 front glass though. Like look. That's basically what it is. I respect the
however,
hustle.
progress is necessary, and having created the superjet, the aviators decided to make a medium-hull jet and enter the market with the largest volumes, which has long been ruled by the Boeing 737 and Airbus A320.
Told you.
Moreover, they had to fight for this market with their new generation, and the Max and Neo are Goliaths, the main trump cards of which were the latest aircraft engines.
Yes.
The future MC...
But the thing is, it's like most Airbus A320 family and 737s use the CFM 56 engines. The difference is that the A320 family, which I used to work on, they used to have the 5Bs and like the dash Bs, dash B, dash 5Bs, or dash 5s in general, and the Boeings with the flatter design, they have the dash 7. CFM 56 is the most common engine family, and it's even using A330s and the newer ones for fuel efficiency reasons. That's why modern A330s were so slow. I say were because they don't make them anymore. I believe they stopped production of them in 2012. So yeah, basically, if you want a small, reliable, fuel efficient plane for medium haul, CFM 56, right?
C-21 airliner was supposed to be a huge leap forward, and the engine issue was one of the most important. The bar is clear. The power plant must be at least at the level of competitors. Otherwise, no matter what the plane is, no one will need it. The first and most obvious decision was to install the same engines as the competitors. And it was accepted. The MC-21 is offered with a Pratt Whitney motor, one of the leaders. However, at the dawn of the program in 2008, the newly formed United Engine Corporation, UEC, proposed another road that the aviators decided to take, to create another engine, a Russian one.
Oh shit,
In the beginning, this decision seemed like a gamble.
Let's finish this video,
The
okay?
engine that had to be created
استنى
had no right to
ادخل
be
جلوبة
inferior to
ما انت
counterparts,
تدخل
and
جلوبة
the
دي
counterparts,
ينتهي.
the most advanced motors in the world, are the results of
Wait,
decades of
sorry,
evolution
this is
within the
fucking
walls of
black
huge corporations. There are only a few of them in the world. It seemed that the
Bro,
Russian
انتوا كمان
engine
ندخل
building
جلوبة.
industry, which had been in a semi-comatose state for a long
shit, there's a
time,
black
simply
screen, man.
wouldn't catch up with them.
Ha.
While the world giants of the industry had to take 3 steps, the UEC would have to take 10. But the project, nevertheless, was launched.
forse تريد تدرج
Considering that
اللعبة.
the engines are intended
Please drag
primarily for
اللعبة.
the MC-21 family,
إنها
which
بدأت
includes
تدرج ياها اللعبة الأول. Isa che tornja in frame.
Aha. Let's try and change the window capture to no, what's that having ready? Fortnite Battle Pass 69 up my ass. Shame, bro, fucking shame.
Titt, efter detta med restart.
Let's try Windows instead. Windows. Okay. Restart again. Let's continue.
Several airliners of different dimensions, the thrust of the engines for them ranged from approximately 123 to 153 kilonewtons.
That's good.
The promising engine, in Russian перспективный двигатель, with a thrust of 137 kilonewtons or 4...
Is that what it's called? What the fuck?
15 tons force was supposed to become the base one, and this is how the name PD-14 appeared.
Hello.
And now a cold shower. I will not be telling the success stories of a team of lively adventurers, just as I will not be throwing loud phrases about an incredibly breakthrough of an unparalleled mega device, from one side of which desperate competitors panicked and closed. The creators of the PD-14 soberly assessed the opportunities, problems, and risks. Yes, the accumulated potential is very large, but the lag in a number of technologies is large too, and it needs...
Oh god, man. I remember. Looking at this, man, it just... I remember when we used to like do the cleanings of like the engine and like just to make sure that like the wires weren't corroded. We'd like cover like the female ports. They're connected to those blue boxes, for example, with caps, like this big plastic caps. Put them on. Right, they fit. If they didn't fit, we would wrap around with tape. And I remember that, like, for protocol reasons, you have like this like little belt you pull on, and you turn around with the belt. You know what? Engine. I forgot what his name was. Engine wire. I forgot the name of the tool, to be honest, man. Engine. I forgot what it's called. Don't remember he's being very fucking special. Anywho,
oh shit! I still have the
crimping tools. I can't fucking find it, man.
Hey, fuck's sake!
For sure, we used to use it, man.
Sasha's laughter dies down and she looks at you. Well, I'm not gonna deny that.
And it was like a rope thing. Well, not rope, but like you wrapped it around, you tighten, you pull. When you pull, you turn it around. I've only not been in aviation for a year, and I still forgot. I already forgotten the names of the tools. Obviously, you could have used like a soft jaw wrench like this one. But for the really big ones, you had like basically it was like a little rope connected like a wrench. You tie it up and you just loosen it, you know, like the really big ones. I'm not mistaken. Like if we go to like. This is for like to power the aircraft, by the way, for like the from the APU to the plane. You use that one side, you know. But here in the engine, like there's like massive connectors, you know. So we're gonna. No. Can't fucking find it. We go to CFM 56 engine exposed. Look, see? So there's like these caps for like connectors and tubing and hydraulic and stuff like that. I used to work on these things, Nigel. A long while ago. Yeah, man. That's the plane that runs Europe. That's the engine that runs Europe. Like, look at the engine. Look at what this engine, right, has run on. It's run for the DC-870, the KC-135R, the 77 family, the Airbus A340, the Airbus A320. They've built almost 33,000 by 2018. Like it's like the EC Mercury's, E333, Boeing business jets, Boeing 707s, Boeing 737s. Well, it's 777, but you know, obviously you could use to put on the A318 because you know the A318 is tech. Actually, the reason why people still buy Airbus A318s except for like small private jets is like because of that the engines are more valuable than the plane, so people buy the plane for the engine for the parts. Like they're basically worth just scrap metal. Basically. Yeah, basically I used to work on these, the 5Bs and the 5Cs, no, but mostly the 5Bs. But then like the 7Bs are for like the Boeing 737, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah, A320 family, I worked on these as well. Basically 5 and 5B. The 5Cs are for the Airbus A320, and this is just for 737s, right? The classics had the dash 3s and the dash 2s were for the really, was obviously it's a 50-year-old design, so you're gonna see like some Boeing 707s and 737s, you know, because like don't forget the 77 technically began its production since 1967. Like that's how old the 77 is. Like it's a 56-year-old design. It's almost a 60-year-old production line, which is really, really fucking impressive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yes, sir. Am I boring you that much, Nigel? Ja, tak na sebe.
En just nesma, odozek.
Ma interessant, yeah.
9/11.
I'm gonna show you, right? Look, you see this? You know why the 737 engines have like a flat bottom? So take live stream out. Check live stream out. Do you see that like the Airbus, say the Boeing 737's engine is flat on the bottom, on the belly? Do you know why it's like that?
Bro.
It's because the the 737 is such an old design that's so low that the only way for that engine to fit is to have a flat belly. like an Airbus, it would fit, right? Oh shit, they tested them on the fucking 747. But anyway, yeah, that's basically the reason why it's flat like that is because the 737s, I believe the only reason 777 generation. It's the same engine though. No, it's not. They yeah, because they made it a bit higher off the ground. And they first, but no, it's still, yeah. It's still got a bit of a flat bottom. It's very deceiving. It's just not as flat as like the Dash 3s were. Wow. Għala kieku maġa inti qed itir ġara plan bħal dik interior wise.
Ah, yes.
Fucking seats look like suitcases, man. On display now, owned by Florida Jet. Like, what the hell? Are people even seeing what I'm seeing right now or no?
Huh?
تعرفش ناريين ولا؟
طبعا طبعا.
شوي أنت تعرف اللايف سين ولا؟
تضربيه وش اضرب له.
Fuck! Anyhow. Getting back to the thing in question. It's that this engine also served for the A340. Look how big the A340 is. Like, this is a massive wide body aircraft. This is like 10 seats side by side or 9 seats side by side. It's like how big this thing is, right? It's still used by Mahan Air, which is an Iranian aviation company, Lufthansa, Edelweiss, which is Swiss, and Swiss Airlines, right? But like, it's not a small aircraft. And look, 380 ordered, 380 built, 377 delivered to airlines. And obviously, I know it's a much bigger aircraft and it's got a massive range. It's a much more expensive airplane. But like, it built that many from 1991 to 1990. So from 1993. So from 1991 to 2012. So that's a 21 year production run. And 377 were built. Now there are 300 orders for the Irkut MC-21. Which is really good. Obviously it's a smaller aircraft and mostly ordered by Russians and other post-Soviet countries, most likely because of the Ukraine war. But it shows how the Ukraine war has actually benefited Russian and Chinese and all these other ex-USSR, ex-communist or socialist countries' aviation industry. In other words, let's continue with the PT-14 and see what we can get from this. Fuck.
Top engine through. The first fence forcing air through the testing was carried out on it, which ended in 2018 with a certificate from the Russian Aviation Authority. And Tsiam. All aspects were worked out, from aerodynamics and computer modeling to mechanization and materials. At the same time, production workers got down to business. The components of the new engines are being manufactured at many sites, and the main one among them, the place where the finished engines will be born, is the UEC Perm Motors plant. All of them faced a serious modernization. The corporation was reformed, the reconstruction of facilities began, centers of competence, new production facilities, and laboratories were created. Personnel was retrained, and the latest equipment was purchased. Thousands of machine tools, robots, and entire platforms. The PD-14 managed to push the whole Russian aviation engines industry forward, even before it lifted the plane for which it was created. Nevertheless, despite the complexity of the task set, the work was carried out actively and quickly. Already in 2012, the first prototype for ground tests was assembled, and in subsequent years it was joined by more and more prototype brothers. In 2015, the engine saw the sky from under the wing of the Il-76 flying lab. the main stage of testing was carried out on it, which ended in 2018 with a certificate from the Russian aviation authorities. After that, the PD-14 went under the very wing it was created for. The airliner in the basic configuration with the PD-14 engine received the MC-21-310 index, and finally, in December 2020, took to the skies. At the initial stage of testing, pilots behaved more carefully with the engine, but rather quickly they began to push it to the limit, and the PD-14 showed itself quite decently, without limiting them in any way. The MC-21-310 conducts dozens of tests, participates in demonstration flights, and flies over long distances, including outside of Russia. The Dubai Air Show was the airliner's first overseas tour, and there were no particular issues with the engine's operation.
Huh.
But the tests continue too, and at times with curious stages. Recently there was a test for the reliability of the power plant in flight conditions in clouds of volcanic ash.
What the fuck?
Previously, no one was particularly interested in such situations, but a volcano erupted in Iceland which closed the airspace of a half of Europe. And while the whole world was trying to pronounce the name, Eyjafjallajökull, the aviation authorities thought about flight safety. The test became a non-trivial task. At the stands, the aviators drove through the engine real ash of Kamchatka volcanoes, checking its ability to function in such conditions. And this work was new not only for Russia. New requirements and such tests had not been carried out on a large scale before. And so, let's figure out what this whole industrial dance revolves around. The PD-14 is a classic modern turbojet engine. The airflow in it moves along two circuits. In the core, the air is compressed, ignited, rotates the turbine, and is thrown out through the nozzle, creating thrust. The bypass duct starts with a large fan, which we can see from the outside. The fan spins, forcing air through the circuit, creating additional thrust and increasing engine efficiency. Now in more detail, let's start describing the engine from the inside out. The core is the heart of the engine, its hot part. It is thanks to it that the jet engines are called fiery hots, for they are fiery in the literal sense. The PD-14 is a 5th generation engine, not to be confused with the famous 5th generation of fighters. No one expects these engines to have stealth, supersonic cruise, super maneuverability, and all that. One of the main parameters characterizing the generations of jet engines is the temperature of gas coming to the turbine from the combustion chamber. Efficiency depends on it to a decent extent. The early engines that appeared at the end of the Second World War could heat up to 900 degrees Celsius, and over time, by the 5th generation, this bar actually doubled.
Fuck!
Meanwhile, the ability to work in this mode for a long time also grew. The first engines were terribly unreliable, dirty, and noisy, and their resource was often at the level of you can fly a little. Modern engines must run for a very long time, be economical and environmentally friendly. A balance must be struck between, in fact, opposite parameters. No one needs a super powerful but disposable engine, just like a super reliable mechanism that is unable to lift an aircraft into the air. In the front part there is a compressor, the task of which is to compress the air passing through it. It is driven forward by stages, rotating disc structures of complex shapes with blades along the circumference, kind of unusual fans. There are as many as 11 of them, 3 low pressure and 8 high pressure stages.
Nice.
And as it moves through the engine, the number of their blades increases, and the volume through which the air passes decreases, like a gorge through which a river flows.
Exactly.
Cozy descriptions should not deceive you. This is a roaring machine with discs spinning at breakneck speeds, inside which air in a split second turns from a cool breeze into hot gas, the pressure of which jumps 40 times. Following the compressor is the main hero of this fire show, a low-emission combustion chamber, where fuel is injected into the gas and ignited, heating it to almost 2,000 degrees.
Obviously you need
the
air
chamber
to
by
run
itself
the
is a work of art. The design, with a very clever flow configuration which includes 48 nozzles, is so complex to build that additive manufacturing is used for this work. Yes, some of the parts are printed from metal by 3D printers. This is not just a desire to simplify production and not a tribute to industrial fashion. Otherwise, it is simply impossible to make such a mechanism with the required parameters of compactness, reliability, and efficiency. In the turbine, the process is, in a sense, the reverse to the process in the compressor. Now, hot and compressed air is bursting through the mechanism, rushing first into 2 high-pressure stages and then into 6 low-pressure stages. Now the gas rotates the turbine, and part of its energy is transmitted through it to the shaft, which rotates the fan and the compressor blades, which in turn compress and drive the gas here. Such is the circulation of energies in the engine. The hot gas that passed through the turbine roars out of the nozzle, creating jet thrust. The main challenge for engine builders in a core are structural elements in direct contact with the working area, primarily the blades. They must be able to withstand enormous loads without melting or collapsing. There are several solutions to this problem. Specially created high-temperature alloys from which the casings are made. I will not describe the composition. It has half of the periodic table. Inside of these casings there are special channels through which air passes, cooling them from the inside. As a dessert, there's a special ceramic coating that takes the first blow of heat, something like ceramic tiles that protect spaceships when entering the Earth's atmosphere.
The extra heat that's going to be in contact with
These solutions, in various combinations, allow the blades to work normally, each blade, and there are hundreds of them here. So, we examined the core of our fiery heart. Now it's time to step back a little and look at the bypass duct. Everything is simpler here. There is no combustion chamber, there is no turbine, there is only one fan.
Well, that's why it's called a turbofan airplane and not a jet, right? Like jets or rockets, how we know today, is not the same as a turbofan, like how like most commercial aircraft are. That's just the whole gist of it.
But it's a big one. The description of the bypass stream of the PD-14 raises a number of questions and often becomes the cause of criticism of the engine as a whole. 3 features raise questions. The fan of the engine is titanium. It has a diameter of 1900 millimeters, 190 centimeters. Behind the fan is the main part of the engine, the bypass ratio of which is 8.5. This means that in the PD-14, 8.5 times more air is driven through the bypass duct than through the core. For modern turbofans, an important parameter that engine builders like to point out. And then there's a question. Fans of the competing 5th generation engine...
Hey yo, she like only meat. Okay, she like only meat. Go there, God, understand.
Are composite and more big, with the larger bypass ratios ranging from the impressive 11 to a wild 12.5.
Whoa.
So what's up?
Well,
these parameters cannot be considered in isolation from the rest, both in the engine itself and in conjunction with the aircraft. The MC-21 introduces a number of requirements for the PD-14, which was created for it. A large fan and a high bypass ratio are good, but they increase the size and weight of the motor as well as air resistance.
Making it heavier, more.
Besides,
more
a huge
drag
bypass ratio is achieved through the use of special solutions and components that complicated the engines and created a number of problems that gave both manufacturers and operators a lot of headache during the initial stage of operation. UEC, in the struggle for the optimal design, decided not to complicate things, and the performance is still very high. For example, in the engines of the 4th generation in this class, the bypass ratio is at the level of 5 to 6. And the second question. The fan of the PD-14 is composed of a group of white-cored, hollow titanium blades. In the Russian engine building, this technology has not been massively used before, and is being mastered right now. Unlike the conventional metal blades that can be seen on most aircraft engines, the new blades are lighter, larger, have a complex aerodynamic shape, and do not require additional reinforcing elements. Yes, they are still a little heavier than composite ones, but here, again, the question of balance is raised. Composite blades are quite complex and expensive to manufacture, and the weight advantage becomes decisive as their size increases. For example, it is pointless to put composite fans on small motors. You get the same thing for a bigger price.
Yep.
And conversely, on large engines, composite fans are practically the only option. The metal here will be too heavy.
That's yours, Nigel. Why do you think people use composite in aircraft nowadays? Composite materials. I know why, but I want you to know.
Why not?
Well, come on, there's a reason why, Nigel. It's a very it's a very simple reason why they put composite surf metals in some situations in aviation nowadays. Because it's lighter.
Bro.
So basically, people use composite nowadays in like big engines or big aircraft or even small aircraft for weight reasons, because obviously they can withstand more forces where lighter weight. You can basically just use composites to make it lighter, making it more fuel efficient and things like that. But as I said in the video, if the engine is small, it would be so expensive to make that the fuel cost savings of just putting composites of like titanium or like a regular metal, it would be destroyed by just the cost of the engine by itself.
75-inch PD-14 fan is an adjacent point at which composites and metals are approximately equal. The engineers evaluated pros and cons and chose hollow titanium as a more optimal option that can be mastered within the required time frame. In addition, the Russian metal industry is rich in both titanium itself and experience in working with it, including the creation of components for aircraft systems, and it is easier and cheaper to purchase from your own. It would be strange not to take advantage of such a bonus. One more reason, after mastering the PD-14, the small PD-8 will be created, which certainly requires a titanium fan, and the already mastered technology greatly simplifies the work. The composite blades of large size for Russia are a fairly new technology. For competitors in this regard, it is easier. But you shouldn't think that they are not engaged in them. Prototypes are being created, tested, and will be installed on engines. First of all, on the promising large PD-35.
Okay.
And with the development of this technology, within the framework of certain modernizations, the solution may well spread, among others, to the PD-14, if it is really necessary. How did this affect the engine? The PD-14 surpasses its predecessors in specific fuel consumption by 12 to 16% and in emissions by about 30%. Further, more interesting, conservatism in the design and a lesser bypass ratio gave both pros and cons, moreover with nuances. The PD-14 probably has a higher specific fuel consumption, but due to the better aerodynamics of the aircraft, it can maintain the required flight speed with less thrust, which reduces consumption. So, in cruising mode, it is close to colleagues in class, slightly falling behind them at low speeds, for example on the ground, on takeoffs and landings. In addition, if oil becomes cheaper, the slightly higher fuel consumption won't matter. This is quite realistic, given the trend of decreasing demand for fossil fuels, and the engines are created for decades to come. At the same time, conservatism gives advantages. Proven solutions, better reliability, cheaper elements, and production. The engine itself will be cheaper, both in purchase and in operation. This should keep the PD-14, considering all the parameters, at the level of counterparts. And all this had to be calculated in advance, along with a million other parameters, even before the engine itself was created. This is what you call experience and competence. Now we're gonna look at the labyrinth of devices, cables, pipes, pumps, and sensors wrapped around the engine. Usually this isn't talked about much, because go figure what all this means.
Yeah.
But without all this conglomeration, any aircraft engine is just a beautiful art installation.
Of course.
For a part of this system,
very expensive
automation,
one for sure.
UEC STAR is responsible. STAR is not really a name as it might seem, but an abbreviation. Системы топливного питания и автоматического регулирования, or Fuel Supply and Automatic Regulation Systems. Unlike the engine bodies, their brains have their own generations. For example, early motors were driven by hydraulics, which were only helped by electronics. The 4th generation acquired more complex systems, such as FEDEC, which were fully responsible for the operation of the engine, and the mechanic was already in secondary roles. The 5th generation uses serious computers with complex software functionality that controls all processes. There are practically no mechanics
Big massive
here.
computers, man.
In addition, new materials and technologies are actively used here. Lighter alloys, high-temperature mechanisms, additive manufacturing, and immediately with them, bionic design. A new area that allows you to design parts with excellent characteristics and, in some places, unusual appearance. Soon the engine units will look like they were painted by Alien's father, H.R. Geiger, but it should be cool at work. So far the engines don't look like alien artifacts, but progress is evident. For example, here's the electronic regulator of the PS-90 engine, which can be seen under the wings of many Russian aircraft. Next to it is the brother, the PD-14 regulator, a little lighter and much more compact with wider functionality. This is felt even more clearly in the example of regulator pumps that supply fuel in the engine. If this thing does not impress you, let me tell you one figure. The PS-90A hydromechanical regulator consists of 6,489 parts.
What the fuck? That's like half the parts like a regular car.
Similar unit at the PD-14 is built on the basis of electronic regulators. There are only about 1,200 parts, several times less. This makes the regulator most simple, compact, light, and reliable. The fuel unit has a resource of 20,000 hours, and the rest of the units 40,000. Such figures have never been reached by Russian engine builders before. To achieve these indicators, stringent tests are carried out. Absolutely all components are tested. Moreover, not only for normal operation, but also in rather harsh conditions. They are shaken on vibration stands, flooded, frozen, and on the contrary overheated. The electronic unit was actually burned on the stand, while the engineers heartlessly watched how the decaying computer behaves and whether it transmits inadequate commands to the engine. Curiously, the element base of the engine is almost entirely Russian. The motives are purely practical. Firstly, no one wants to breed competitors, so critical technologies do not leave the walls of manufacturers.
Yes.
Secondly, it can be difficult to work with large suppliers. If the volumes of contracts are small, they are not taken seriously. Domestic companies, one way or another, manage to organize production of the element base. And with the localization of supplies, trade wars and the crisis of logistics and electronics driving entire industries into a coma, bypasses the engine builders. Finally, we can look at the engine as it appears to ordinary passengers. The PD-14 nacelle, covering the mechanisms and providing aerodynamic flow, is made of composite materials and is also created in a division of UEC Aviadvigatel. For all the external simplicity, the structure is very complex, especially considering the aerodynamic component, airflow and interaction with the pylon and the wing. An error here can seriously impair the performance of the airframe. Naturally, the engine is equipped with a thrust reverser. This is a special mechanism that, at the moment of landing, turns the airflow around and slows down the aircraft. These mechanisms are diverse, and on the PD-14, a sliding version is installed. When a part of the nacelle fairing is displaced slightly backward, inside, the blades blocking the flow move out,
really cool.
And the air rushes forward. On the PD-14, the mechanism is lightweight, made of composites, and is powered by electronic drives. This has not been done in Russia before. Another external element of the engine is the chevrons. The sawtooth end of the circuit ensures smooth mixing of airflows, which reduces the level of noise resulting from it. Quite a fashionable solution. The PD-14 previously assumed the installation of chevrons on both circuits, and they were even tested, but over time the outer one was removed from the second circuit. The engine was originally designed in a way to minimize noise, and this turned out to be enough to meet modern and future requirements. An external chevron was not needed, and no one wanted to install a complex structure just for beauty. On the nozzle, however, the chevron remained, and now flies. The PD-14 is being created for the MC-21 airliner, but thanks to the gigantic volume of developed technologies and the overclocking of the entire industry, there is no doubt that it will not be alone for long. The basic PD-14 develops a thrust of up to 137
video.
and will be installed on the basic MC-21.
Jesus Christ.
The heavier version of the airliner will receive the forced PD-14M engine with a thrust of 153 kilonewtons. In addition, the use of proven technologies and solutions makes it possible to create other engines, first of which will be the smaller PD-8 with a thrust of 77.5 kilonewtons for the updated Superjet.
Whoa.
And of course, the PD-35 with a thrust of 343 kilonewtons, which is being created for heavy aircraft, primarily wide-body airliners. Magnum opus of the UEC. Nothing like this has ever been created, either in Russia or the USSR. The PD-35 program is actively developing, large-scale research is underway, and some units are already being tested.
The fact like the fan alone is like 3 inches taller than I am. No, actually no. No. Yeah, basically the fans.
Plus,
Oh,
Berim
those are
Motors,
like
being the largest developer
inches
and
taller than I am.
manufacturer of power plants
This is
for the
impressive.
energy industry, having created the PD-14, could not say no to the idea of making its ground version. It became the PD-14 GP1 and 2, industrial power plants for power stations and gas transmission units, with a capacity of 12 and 16 megawatts in 2 versions, which will be 8% more economical than their predecessors and much better in terms of ecology. And they are very much awaited. The forecast demand for these power plants until 2031 is about 210 units. The re-equipment and modernization of production, started together with the PD-14 program, continues to this day, and its scale is very serious. Even now many sites continue to receive equipment, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that in the workshops, continuously operating machines stand next to huge boxes with their not yet unpacked relatives. For example, in Perm, a competence center is being created for the production of engine shafts, the very parts holding the entire circuit, and the requirements for quality and accuracy are very high here. The plans to increase the output are very serious, while now 300 of them are being made per year. After the full launch of the entire line, 1,500 units will be coming from here annually. The same thing is happening with advanced production facilities, which, in fact, are created from scratch. The same 3D printing from local solutions for some parts is growing into full-fledged centers of additive manufacturing. And such a picture can be seen at many objects of the UEC and Rostech throughout Russia. A multifold increase in production volumes over the next few years here are quite normal and realistic plans. Another subtle factor that is no less important than any other is after-sales support. Nobody will want even the best plane in the world if after every minor breakdown it will spend weeks in repair, waiting for a spare part. The creators of the MC-21 and PD-14 understand this perfectly well. And given that the advantage of the new engine is the low cost of the life cycle, this factor becomes critically important, so the service infrastructure is being created right now. As part of the UEC, repair sites and training centers are being created, starting directly with Berim Motors and further in the required regions. Large-scale work is underway to organize logistics, pools of replacement engines, spare parts, and all other support elements. The basic infrastructure should be ready by the time the first PD-14 under the wing of the MC-21-310 arrives to the first operator. Further plans are variable and will be implemented depending on demand. By the end of 2021, Berim Motors assembled almost the entire testing batch of engines, the earliest of which were sent to the test sites, and the new ones are already flying on the MC-21. With the launch of serial production, the output will increase. The potential is quite large. Here a lot depends on the engine builders and on the aircraft themselves, the rates of their production and deliveries.
Now I know what's different between these planes. They got really fucked up noses.
Always nice.
Look at the nose on that thing, man.
Bro turned into a rapper.
What?
What?
No, but like, look at the nose on like the MC-21s. Like Russian planes have the weirdest fucking noses on like modern aircraft. It looks like Toothless. For Hard-Train, you're dragging with its fucked up nose.
Bro hates Toothless.
Oh.
Cancel him, YouTube. Cancel his eyes.
Look, big ass eyes, very small nose. Big eyes, small nose.
Let's hope that everything goes as it should, and soon we will see hundreds of representatives of the family of Fiery Hots, whose father was the PD-14.
No grab.
Enzo Ferrari once said, "I don't sell cars, I sell engines. The cars I throw in for free since something has to hold the engine in." I don't think the MC21 will be given away for free, but its most important part is the engines,
Well,
ready
no
for
shit.
the great and glorious era.
That's a bit fucking obvious, right? You're not really gonna fly a plane without a fucking engine. That you blow yourself up like in the thumbnail, wink, wink, wank, wank, only for educational reasons.
Travel in the skies of this blue ball. Many thanks to the guys at the United Engine Corporation for their help in creating this story. And
This is back in 2020. Now let me show you Chinese planes, right? Chinese planes. AI, honey, I can the Santatone. So, oh my god, look, 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 look. You see this? So, Chinese planes, right? Go down, 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 down. Boom! Right next to B-21 Raider and B-2 Spirit takeoff. I just called the MA-70, I believe. The MA-700 aircraft. Here we are. 7M7. So there was one like was biggest turboprop. Let's see what around with this person reviewing the Xi'an MA60. I believe the Xi'anma means like modern arc, if I'm not mistaken. The Xi'anma. The Xi'anma 60 is, yeah, basic. If I'm not mistaken, it the cheapest country's airline owns this. No, they don't. Oh shit! Look at this. Merpatino Santa. Shush. Anywho, look at this. This is what the plane used to look like, right? Right? Boom! Chassis split in half. Wing just fucked off. Gone, basically, right? No one died, but half the people were injured. All except two on board, one passenger, one flight crew were in Indonesians. One passenger was an American citizen identified as Aloysius Dean. The co-pilot Malaysian, however, various media falsely reported the co-pilot nationality as South Korean. The pilot of the flight was identified as Itia Priwanyo Jowono, and the co-pilot was identified as Aoyong Vumping. Captain Ditya joined the company in 1994. He had a total flying hours of 12. That's a lot of flight hours, in which 2,000 of them were in the Xiaoma 60. So he was very experienced with this aircraft. Captain Aditya was qualified. Okay, what the fuck happened? So, they were flying at 9 a.m. at local time with 46 passengers to 4 crew members, so 50 people, and with an expected flight arrival at 9:40. The flight was was uneventful until the landing. First officer A.U. Young Vumpin was the pilot flying, and captain was the pilot monitoring. At 9:22, the flight crews made the first communication with the tower controller and reported a position maintaining 11,500 feet. The pilot received information that the runway in use was 7 and the weather information. Flight 6517 later descended approved their descent of 5,000 feet. At 9:38 local time, the crew reported the aircraft passing 10,500 feet and stated the flight was on visual meteorological location (VMC). The airport then obtained visual contact with 6517 and issued a landing clearance. At 9:51, the crew reported that the position on final El Tari Tower reissued landing gear. At 10:15 a.m., flight 6517, this airplane, bounced 3 times and slammed onto the tarmac, broke into 2 sections. Both the left wing and the right wing were bent forward. The entire wing structure was separated intact from the fuselage, which collapsed under its own weight, and both propellers were destroyed. Eyewitness recalled a massive explosion when the crash occurred. It skidded for several meters. After the aircraft stopped, the flight attendants assessed the situation and decided to evacuate the passengers through the rear main entrance door. A total of 25 people were injured in the crash. 1 pilot and 4 passengers who were seated in row number 3, 7, and 8 suffered serious injury. Several injured passengers suffered shock from the crash and was taken to El Tares VVIP lounge. Several people were admitted to the military hospital. The Kupang military hospital located on the west side of the airport. Several of the injured taken care of by Professor Dr. Wiz Johannes Public Hospital. Military personnel immediately assisted the survivors and sterilized the crash site. So this plane basically bounced 3 times. On the 3rd time, smashed in half, and the wings. You know what I can say? At least no one died. That's impressive. It's a Chinese plane. They've been building this plane since the year 2000. Only 110 were built by 2030, which isn't that bad. Because like a turbo. This is basically just like a copy of a copy. Because basically an Antonov 24, which is also a copy of another aircraft, so it's a copy of a copy, right? And the An-24 is a pretty old aircraft. Actually, let me show you how old the An-25 is. The An-24 began production in 1959. That's just to show you how old it is. It developed into the Xi'an Y7, which started production in 1984. Then the Xi'an 60 is just a rendition of the Y7, which 107 were built. Oh, they're still building the Y7. What? It's owned by by Chinese Air Force, Cambodian Airlines, President Airlines, Iran, Laos, Mauritania, China, and Air Zimbabwe. What the fuck? What's Air Zimbabwe's current fleet? So they have 1 Shamma, 1 ERJ 145, 1 777 in order, 2 767s, 2 737s, and 2. Bro, as an African airline has more aircraft diversity than Malta's airline. It's actually embarrassing. Has the Xiaomi even been in an accident yet? Well, okay, has anyone died yet? 1, 2, 3. Seems like Joy Air has been having some issues. So they have 737 800s. They ordered Comac ARJ 21s, Comac CU 919s, and they own Xiaomi 60. So basically, I believe the Xiaomi is just like an airplane that like small country airlines can't afford to have. So you just buy a Xiaomi. Like legit. At least that's how I view it in my mind, you know? What do you think, Nigel?
Yeah, Zobnov, man.
You want to order a flight with Joy Air, see if we crash with these people? I mean, so we don't crash because Xi Jinping is the best ruler, you know? You know? Let's keep our, you know, also being chilling, you know? But damn, man, there's 14 accidents. 25 people died in one accident. Damn, man. What the fuck? That's it. Burundi, I believe Burundi, like the poorest country in the world, has an airline. I wonder what Burundi Airlines flies with. I know it. They fly a Xiaoma 60. Like, their jet in 2019 only had a Xiaoma 60, and before they had a Sud Aviation, which is a French airplane, Caravelle, and a DH6 Twin Otter, right? Then later we have the new Burundi Airlines, and the fleet is the same Xiaoma 60. This is the air of the poorest country in the world, folks. It's a Xiaoma 60. No beef, honestly, but you know. Like, not really the safest aircraft now, is it? Just saying, bro. Just saying. But, you know, biggest can't be choosers. Right? And you know what? I want to try out what people think it is like to fly.
So I'm here in Kathmandu. When I landed, I saw an aircraft at the airport that intrigued me. Now it turned out to be a Chinese-built Xi'an MA-60 aircraft. Now there's not many of them flying, most of them have been grounded due to safety concerns. But Nepal Airlines have a couple of them here in Kathmandu and they send them on domestic flights all around the country. So I decided to try and go and get myself booked on one, which was a task easier said than done.
You see, the only way to book domestic flights on Nepal Airlines is to visit their sales office in downtown Kathmandu. Once I'd convinced them to sell me a straight return flight to anywhere in Nepal as long as it was on an MA-60, I found out that they don't take cards, only cash. After scraping ATMs and finally getting together 40,000 rupees, I went back and found out that they actually prefer payment in US dollars, and getting them to take rupees ended up being a laborious task involving photocopies of passports and many forms to fill in.
This is the airport time, yes, and this is flight time.
40,000 Nepalese rupees, or about $300 later, I have 2 tickets to fly to a city in the west of Nepal on an MA-60 and then come straight back on the next flight. So, without any further ado, let's head to Tribhuvan Airport and take a flight with Nepal Airlines on a Xi'an MA-60. Let's go.
Big thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. I arrived at the chaotic domestic terminal at Kathmandu at 8:30 AM for my 9:30 flight. You have to go through security before entering the terminal, which seems to be more for show than anything, as nothing was actually happening and nobody watched the screen.
So the place I'm going to today is called Nepalganj. It's a city over in the west of the country, close to the border with India, I think. I had a quick look on Google Maps last night and figured out where it was. So I'm here at the domestic terminal just waiting for check-in to open.
The way this dude just fucking... Oh, shit. The way I dude just fucking stared at him in the back.
So the place I'm going to today is called Nepalganj. It's a city over in the west of the country, close to the border with India, I think. I had a quick look on Google Maps last night and figured out where it was. So I'm here at the domestic terminal.
What the fuck? Wait, hey, what the fuck?
Waiting for check-in to open, and then I've got to...
His face. What the fuck?
Got to find out whether or not I can get my boarding pass for the return flight at the same time, because...
Bro, the fucking stare, man. The fuck are these two looking at me? What the fuck are you going to do about me? I don't know anything wrong, sir.
I've got like 20 minutes on the ground in Nepalganj before getting the same flight back, so we'll find out, I guess, when we do the check-in.
Hello, sir.
So I go and I come straight back. So do I need to check in again at Nepal Gunj?
You need to check in again.
Okay, same aeroplane though.
Yeah.
Enough time?
Yeah, it's enough time.
Enough time. Right. Okay.
Would you like to sit on the emergency exit, sir?
I can do. Yes. Yes.
So, boarding will do from gate number 2, sir.
Gate number 2. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day. Thank you. I headed through to the security checkpoint, which again was relatively arbitrary. You walk through with your coat on and full pockets, setting off all the alarms, and are given a quick pat down and wave through. Hello, good morning. Thank you. I was through to my home for what turned out to be a very long day. Okay, so they just announced that our flight to Nepal Ganj is delayed until 11. It was originally due to leave at 9:30, so it's about an hour and a half late so far. But I think they've had some bad weather over there, so a lot of flights are delayed and cancelled. So
obviously the planes are fucking desperate
hopefully
as well.
we get on board soon. Doesn't really matter the delay, because if this one's delayed, then the next one will be as well. So should be fine.
What's up, bro?
What?
Yeah, enough, man.
So, update now, it's 1:30 in the afternoon, we're now 4 hours late, and they've just announced that it's now delayed until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. just daft. I went to the Nepal Airlines office, and they say that the reason is that they've had to send the plane over to another airport. And we have to wait for it to come back here, and then hopefully the weather will have improved enough to be able to fly into Nepal Gunj. So I'm at the point where I'm about to give up, but I'm just going to hang around until 3, I think, and see if it actually goes. Here you go. Thank you, sir. Finally, at 4 p.m, we were called for boarding, an incredible 6.5 hours after our scheduled departure time.
Oh shit. Top of the line fucking airport service with a fucking coaster bus.
Here we go.
At least you have somewhere to sit. There it is.
We drove to the domestic apron where our aircraft was waiting. Today's ride is incredibly just 3 years old, delivered brand new to Nepal Airlines in 2017.
My god, man. That thing looks so much older than 3 years.
Once I got on board, I arrived at my allocated seat to find that somebody had already beaten me to it. Oh, sorry, I think... 5A. Yes. Oh, A is window. A is window? So A, B.
Do you want to stay here?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Well, here's a fucking
For
beautiful view.
information, you're sitting near the emergency exit
Yes.
window. So this emergency exit window is only used in the emergency.
Yes, of course. So they think that someone's gonna just fucking go whoop and open the fucking. How stupid are people in Nepal or how stupid do the police people think English people are, right? When it comes to like plane exits. What the fuck, man?
So finally on board the Xi'an MA60. We are 6 hours late, but it doesn't matter. We are on board one of the rarest aircraft in the world.
Man, the way these fucking people just stare at him, man.
Forward to it. It was soon time for the engines to start up. The engines are Pratt & Whitney PW127s, the same type used on the ATR-42 and ATR-72.
Okay, so these are like American
We
engines.
taxied out to Kathmandu's runway 20 for our departure to Nepal Gunj.
Wonder the engines look so oversized on this thing. The turbo prop, not turbo fan, so yeah. Really justified the thing. making noises and shit. Right, so fucking densely packed.
Our route today then took us west out of Kathmandu towards the city of Nepalgunj. Flight time today was 59 minutes at a cruising altitude of 12,000 feet. The MA60 cabin is relatively comfortable, especially in the exit row. I did really like how retro the safety card is for an aircraft that's just 3 years old.
Nigel.
Oh.
They used hot... Bro, look, this is the brochure. A safety brochure for a 3-year-old airplane. They literally got a naked, a pantsless anime girl as the safety instructor with like devices from like the fucking 90s. And look at the safety positions. One's about to fucking shit himself while trying to suck his dick, right? The other one's just the other one's just fell asleep, and the woman in pink, she's just trying to practice yoga, man. Like the fuck, look. Please don't leave like suitcases in the middle of the bro. How fucking stupid do people have to be, right? For you to tell people not to put suitcases in the middle of the aisle. How common was it, right, in the 2000s that you need to put that sign in? It's incredible.
MA60 stands for Modern Arc 60, and it's a Chinese-built derivative of the Soviet Antonov An-24.
As we covered.
It's not certified for use in Europe or the US. The aircraft caused some controversy in New Zealand after a Tongan airline were given one by the Chinese government. The New Zealand government suspended tourism aid to the country and warned tourists not to fly on the aircraft based on the aircraft's safety record. The MA60 has been involved.
So it's so safe that it can't be used in America, in Europe, and in New Zealand. Not really a good sign for an airplane.
In 15 accidents since 2012, one of which was fatal. However, it is kind of worth noting that most of those accidents were down to pilot error rather than specific design faults with the aircraft.
Okay.
And the one fatal accident was down to pilot error as they tried to complete a visual landing in heavy fog.
Okay. But no one like third world countries fly this way, you know?
Right, so on the ground at Nepalgunj, everybody else has got off. They said I can stay on the plane just while they turn it around and then back to Kathmandu. Hey. I was told that I could stay on board the aircraft during the turnaround, as Kathmandu had rang ahead to get my boarding pass issued and get me boarded for the return leg already. As the aircraft was clean, the crew offered me more drinks, and the first officer invited me up to the flight deck to take a look.
Yeah, how did you like it?
Very nice, yes. I've flown on the Antonov 24 quite a lot, so
Are you like
very similar. That's very good. Thank you.
Oh my god, man, this is a modern airplane. Look at all the gauges. Look at all the gauges, man.
Oh, you know, baby's bite, bro.
Huh?
And
I mean, like, I'm not. The oldest plane I think I've ever fixed was an ATR. Sorry, the oldest plane I ever fixed was a Dash 8-100, right? Let me show you the interior of that thing, right? It was a 40-year-old plane, right? Let me show you the interior. Cockpit. Cock. It's a lot like Q100 normally looks like, right? No, this one here. Fuck. Something like this, right? Then we have like the Q200, which starts introducing screens. The 300, around similarly. You have the 400, which is mostly like this is a turboprop aircraft, right? And it looks super futuristic. It looks very Airbus, you know. which like shows like how cool it looks. But and this is a 2000 plane. They could have at least like modernized it a bit more, you know. But anyhow.
So that was pretty cool. Got to go and see the first officer on the flight deck, have a look at the cockpit. It was really cool. I was waiting for everybody to board here at Nepogunj. The weather is it's quite rainy, but I'm glad to be sat on board. They've just finished cleaning the aircraft, and I think I've just heard them say that the passengers are ready to board. So I will see you very soon if I get booted out of my seat or if I have a seatmate for the next bit. So yeah.
As I wait for the passengers to board, I just want to say a big thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Surfshark's a VPN provider. A VPN's a tool that encrypts your connection to the internet, meaning that you're always safe when connecting to a UK city mall. We were boarding and it wasn't long before the engine started for our flight back to Kathmandu.
får tjommog illa bara.
It's still pretty noisy, but it's not as bad as the Antonov 24.
Of course.
Well, because everyone's really wants to go play
as well. The cabin crew have been absolutely amazing on this flight as well.
No, because like I'm watching the reaction to the video, you know.
Fuck off, man.
Okay, so let's look at like Russian versus Airbus versus Boeing. Let's go.
Wherever you are, jet-powered commercial aircraft produced by industry juggernauts Airbus and Boeing are likely to be a common sight. This manufacturing duopoly has a presence in most markets, with many of their aircraft directly competing with one another. However, Russia is also an important centre for aircraft manufacturing, with several well-established companies present there. But how do Russian jetliners compare to those of Airbus and Boeing? Before we go any further, a crazy 79% of you have not yet subscribed.
Have I subscribed? No, I haven't. Subscribing now, notification, everything, bro. You guys are fucking badass. I support you.
Please, do us a favour and subscribe now. It really means
just
a
like you
lot.
should subscribe to my channel, you know?
The majority of Russia's aircraft manufacturers are grouped under the wider umbrella of the United Aircraft Corporation, or UAC, as well as including commercial aircraft manufacturers. This group also includes military producers such as Mikoyan. The UAC was founded in February 2006 as part of a presidential decree by Vladimir Putin. It was hoped that by...
Oh, hyper enough, give in the king. I'll shake my dick, shall. Imma meta raħda live stream, hello. You know? Inni naqra.
Grouping the companies, they would be able to collectively minimize their losses while also optimizing aircraft production. Several significant manufacturers of commercial aircraft find themselves under the UAC umbrella. In this video, we'll explore aircraft from Ilyushin, Sukhoi and Tupolev.
Ilyushin is very iconic, Sukhoi is very modern, and Tupolev is also a very iconic airline company, but it's not as old as Ilyushin for sure.
Yakovlev has also produced commercial aircraft in the past,
Never heard of that.
such as the Yak-40 and Yak-42.
Okay, yeah.
However, these rear-engine trijet designs are no longer in production. A better-known Russian jetliner currently in
Ilyushin, I think, which is basically just a variation of the Ilyushin 86, which is an older design. So basically, you know how old this design is. Listen, look, it's a 4-engine aircraft, right? the A340 saw production in 2012, and they saw it was super old. Right? I believe this predates the A340. It's got massive 4 engines, Ilyushin 96. I believe like the only airline who like started using this aircraft, other than like Putin, the Russian Air Force, and the Russian Air Force before like the Ukrainian war was like Cuba, just to show how little people were using, how little that were made of this thing. So how big and thirsty these things were, you know. But if I'm not mistaken, they're re-releasing them. And obviously due to the Ukrainian war, it might cause more demand for a plane like this.
Production is the Ilyushin IL-96 due to its use by Cuban flag carrier.
Same thing, bro. This thing this plane looks like a fucking neckbeard, man. Look. It's got a scrunched up face and a fucking massive double chin. And a live night. Real quick.
Yeah, no thank you.
Like, just zoom this shit out. I'm gonna put in L96 front. What the fuck? You know what? Now, you tell me, right, that this doesn't resemble this. Oh, my lady. Like, fucking hell, man. You know? And when was this thing released? It was released in 1988, so the A320 predates this, and only 33 were built. Damn, that's very little for any plane, right? Originally you had the IL-86, and that was from 1976, 1991, and 106 were built, right? The IL-96 has been in production for longer, and still nothing. Damn, I thought it was much older, to be honest with you. When was the last one? Okay, yeah. The last one was used in 2020. Wait, what? Oh, people are still using them. The former. Okay, no one flies these anymore, but who still flies the Ilyushin 96 though? You know? Twin engine version. With the PD-14s. Okay. So people who currently use them are Cubana Le Aviacon. Ilyushin still owns one, yeah. The Russian what? Russia Airlines. But they own 747 they have a lot of Boeings, man. I'm just saying. If you want to protect your airline, seriously, focus more on investing and buying your own aircraft. But like, as I was saying, yeah, it's funny how, look at this, it's a Russian airline, and weirdly enough it is the largest operator of the 747-400. A Russian airline, right? They own more foreign aircraft, as in variation wise, than Russian, right? Currently they're flying the MC-21, well, they ordered 12 of them, and they own the Sukhoi Superjet, which actually has gone very well. Like, they already built 229 of these since 2007. You know, it's an A220 Embraer E190, E170 competitor. And it's a very cool plane, honestly. And I believe it's also being used by North Korea, right? You have the 75-seater one, the 121, the 141. So, yeah, pretty good, right? And what the fuck? 86 deaths already? man. Okay, who flies these planes, by the way? I'm just curious now. Fundamental productivity, slow sales, yeah, makes sense. Impact of sanctions against Russia. Russian operators of the Sukhoi 100 encountered difficulties in keeping their fleets airborne as of the sanctions imposed. 2023, it emerged there were shortage of parts for the. Oh no. I mean, okay. So basically, they built the Sukhoi Super J100 around foreign parts. Now they can't build anymore now. Shit. It's really, well, this happens, you know, when you fuck up and be a little shit, you know. But I was saying, buy more MC21s and buy more Illusions. You know, I'm just saying. Bring back your own designs, right? Let's go back to the Illusion 96 and see what it offers.
Cubana de Aviación. Visually and in terms of its size, the four-engine aircraft bears similarity to the Airbus A340-300.
Exactly.
In fact, it entered service just 3 months before the A340 in December 1992. The IL-96M is 64.7 meters long and can fly 307 passengers in 3 classes.
It's not
range
bad.
Of 12,800 kilometers or 6,907
These are good specs.
nautical
well,
miles.
decent specs, you know.
Meanwhile, the 63.7 meter long A340-3.
What? I think it's the proportions. Like the A340 looks super long and sleek, but the like the Illusion 96 looks bulkier. It looks short, even though it's a whole meter longer, which is pretty impressive.
300 holds up to 290 passengers across 3 classes and has a range of 13,500
okay, so it carries 17 as people, but
can
go 700 kilometers more.
For Boeing, the IL-96M is similar in capacity and length to the Boeing 777-200. Its range of 12,800 kilometers take it further than the basic.
Oh my god, that's very fucking long.
200.
14, that fucking hell, that's a lot.
However, this is not the case in the ER version, which flies about 300 kilometers further, and the LR, which can fly nearly 1,300 kilometers more. Meanwhile, Tupolev's present flagship is its single-aisle Tu-204, which entered service in 1996. The jet is similar to the Airbus A321 and Boeing 757. Indeed, aside from the short fuselage Tu-204-300, all 3 aircraft are within 3 meters of each other in terms of length, stretching from 44.5 to 47.3 meters long. However, the best range that it can manage is 5,800 kilometers or 3,130 nautical miles, compared to the 757-200's 7,250 kilometers or 3,950 nautical miles, or the original A321's 5,930 kilometers or 3,200 nautical miles. Of course, aircraft from the newer A321neo series, such as the LR and XLR versions, can fly even further. Finally, the Sukhoi Superjet 100 matches closest to the Airbus A220-100, although the latter has more than twice the range, 6,390 kilometers
or
3,450 nautical miles, compared to just 3,048 kilometers or 1,646 nautical miles. Looking forward, Irkut hopes to rival the A320neo and 737 MAX families with its MC-21, while Russia has also teamed up with China to develop.
Yeah, basically, China and Russia made a C-Rack, and they were going to release the C919 and the C929. I believe the C929 is their wide-body version, and the C919 is basically the fucking 777 A320 competitor. And it was going to be like the third of a price of like a 737, which if possible, and it becomes as good of a performer as 777 and the A320, and is cheaper by that much, then Airbus and Boeing will still have their clientele, but for like budget airlines, some might move to a C919 if they won't take the risk, and maybe it can help China have an industrious aviation age.
At the Craic CR929, Despite falling short on range, the CR929 still hopes to challenge the A330neo and Boeing 787. Have you flown on any Russian-designed jet airliners?
No.
How do
By
they
wish.
compare to Airbus and Boeing aircraft? Share your experience with us by leaving a comment. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, simple...
Yeah. That's very interesting, I'll go away. What? The A300, the A310. Also, there's like the North Korean airline, but I think that's enough for today, guys. I thank you all for watching this live stream. Don't forget to share, like, comment, subscribe, and help us grow. And I'll see you all, and we'll see you all in the next live stream. Au revoir.